Hello, Lindsay. Can you hear me okay?
Hey, yes, I can. How's it going?
All right. Awesome. I think we've got like one more minute and then we will get started. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Good. Doing great. We're so excited to have you on and
I'm
chat
excited.
with us today. I love the Alabama in the background.
I got to represent.
Yes, absolutely. I did see where you attended the game last
Oh my gosh. I'm glad that I actually have my voice back because I couldn't talk for like 2 days straight. It was pandemonium. Even with our loss, it was amazing to be there. It was
I
amazing.
bet it was
Yeah.
wild. I wasn't there personally, but I saw a lot of videos and
Oh my gosh.
definitely historical moment. Not as much in Alabama's favor, but just being there, I'm sure it was really awesome.
It was. And we're still in the running. So we're good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Always come in at the end and
Yeah.
make our way through in the SEC. So we'll see how it turns out. But looks like we're right at 4:00. So we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to everybody who's joining us today. Today's webinar, we're so excited to have Lindsey Schmidt with us, who is one of our favorite investors. Not just saying that, she truly is. We got to spend a lot of time with her at our Spartan Summit earlier this year and really got to know her more on a personal level and is an Alabamian at heart. So we are so excited to have you. So thanks so much for coming on, Lindsey.
Absolutely. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. So I'm really excited today to dig in a little bit more on market trends. You as a realtor, you're seeing that every day, and also being an investor. I know you're getting to see both sides, but we're excited to learn more about your background and your experience here at Spartan over the years and your investment journey altogether. So go ahead and just tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in the real estate world.
Okay, so real estate, first of all, was nowhere on my radar at all. After college, I joined the Army, worked in defense for a while. That's how I ended up here in Alexandria, Virginia, the DC area. My first home that I bought in downtown Birmingham, or right outside of downtown Birmingham, just happened to be a fantastic rental. And I started renting it out when I moved up here. And then when I was kind of getting over defense, I decided to get licensed in real estate, really just to be able to represent myself in investments. I had no intention of actually practicing as a realtor, but I started working part-time just to learn the market. And at that point, I was like, I'm really good at this, and this is a viable exit strategy. So I did it part-time for like a year and then started full-time. So I'm a full-time realtor, but I continue to invest. And my goal is to just build up as much passive income as I can with my investment properties so I can start backing away from the active sales.
That is an amazing story. I feel like everyone I talk to that's in real estate is like, it kind of found me and it was nowhere on my radar. So
yeah,
that is really interesting. And also, thank you so much for your service when you were, are you still active military?
No, it's been a long time. Yeah.
It's been a long time, but thank you so much for your service. We admire you so much with that. And I got to enjoy learning more about your story when you were here in person and just how you've grown through that. I know that, obviously you have properties here in Alabama. Are you investing in other areas too right now, or what's going on currently?
I have not yet. I keep coming back to Alabama because it's really good down there. Eventually I will. And as I see where you guys are expanding, then I'll want to get in on that as well. But right now I've been putting my money in the South because it goes farther down there.
It does, absolutely. And we're so thankful for investors like you continue expanding here in Alabama and Tennessee. So we're excited to continue building that portfolio with you. But I know you being in Virginia, you're talking with clients both on the buyer and seller side every day. So you're in the market, you're talking to lenders, you're seeing rates come through. And as I can imagine, you've maybe had some hesitant people coming your way recently.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
What I tell them, I hear people saying like, oh, if I just would have bought earlier in the year, I would have had the lower interest rates. And I'm like, yeah, it stinks that you're not getting 3%. Like some of your friends were that bought earlier in the year, but your friends that bought earlier in the year waived all contingencies. They didn't have to get to do any home inspections. They had no appraisal contingencies. They were probably coming out of pocket 10, 50, some of them appear like even 100K just to go over list price and coming out of pocket to pay that difference with the appraisal. So it's never going to be a perfect situation. No one likes the rates right now, but at least with my buyers now, they get the contingency. So you still have that out if you want, with the home inspection, actually getting to negotiate home repairs, which never happened earlier this year, and stick to an appraisal, So I know that everyone's so tired of hearing, marry the house, date the rate, but people are saying it for a reason. So it's still 100% better than renting, because 100% of your rent is you're never going to see a return on that investment. So I'm always going for, hey, if you can swing it right now, still move forward with the buy.
No, I love that advice. And I'm hearing a lot about that too. Waited too long, should have moved quicker. But I think that just, in the past couple of years, we've been a little bit spoiled with some of these crazy low rates that have come through, and where we kind of have a false narrative that we're believing that, hey, only makes sense right now for me to invest in a property or having a successful investment property if there's low rates involved. And that's just not the case at all. This isn't the first time this has ever happened. We've seen rates where there are right now. And I'm having those conversations a lot with people daily. So especially on the investment side, I want to kind of gear that way. Tell me a little bit about why investors should know, hey, this really isn't affecting you as much as it would a primary residence going into buying a primary residence. Because right now, with the investment side, as long as it's cash flowing, it's still making sense. So what's some advice that you could give to investors who are kind of hesitant right now?
Well, first of all, if you're an investor, you're not paying that interest rate. The tenant is paying that in the rent. And there are also other loan products out there that if you just get creative and look for them, a lot of people assume, I'm going to have 20, 25% down for, a conventional loan. But some of the lenders that I work with up here have portfolio loans. Like one that I was just speaking with my guy today, 15% down, no mortgage insurance, which is amazing because usually you need 20% down, especially as an investor. And they can also impute income, impute the rent rather, to be able to qualify for that loan. So there are loan products out there that are really great. Now, this particular one is an ARM, it's adjustable rate, but that's, that gives you a couple years for the rates to go down to be able to refinance it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're thankful to be working with a lot of our preferred lenders daily who are offering different programs and workarounds. Maybe if you have a different situation, that you may not have a full-time job or you're retired, whatever it may be, that they're working through that. I know, and here at Spartan, we're doing everything we can to help the investor. We got a couple things going on where we're helping investors buy down that rate.
Buy down point.
Buy down the points. Yeah. But overall, we just really want to encourage that not to focus so much on where we were earlier this year and coulda, shoulda, woulda, happening.
Yeah, no, that's already gone.
Right. It's already gone. And, in that time period, like you mentioned, people were overpaying for properties, and those properties can really lose their value if we are coming up on an economic downturn, which on the other hand, if we're seeing now lower priced properties that are at a higher interest rate, it really can work to their advantage because it's a long-term opportunity that's still profiting, that down the road, when rates do go down, we can come back to these lenders and refinance when those rates are dropping. So that's just really something we're wanting to hone in on, and we're really glad that we have investors like you who are helping people see that, and realtors. So hopefully we can keep moving past this fear, I think, the rest of this year, and seeing that real estate is going to be one of the best place always to put your money in.
Yeah.
So, what are some other things right now that you're seeing with some of your buyers that are hesitant in, I guess, economy related, as you're talking to them?
I think most of the parties, they're saying, well, maybe I'll just hang on and rent for another year. Like, okay, average rent up here is around $2,500 a month. That's 30 grand a year that you will never see a penny of return on. So you're worried about paying a little bit more in interest each month, but you're totally fine just throwing 30K down the drain.
Exactly.
That part I don't understand. If you're in the position to buy, if you're not in the position to buy, then that's a completely different ballgame. But if you're in the position to buy and it's just the rate that you're worried about, look at the numbers and see if it makes sense, but actually really look at the numbers, because a lot of people just make assumptions. And I say, look at the numbers, speak to a lender. Don't just look at rates online and do the little mortgage calculator, you know, that you're going to find on Google. You need to talk to a lender so that they can tell you, okay, this is what you actually qualify for. And let's look at the different products that are going to be the right fit for you. So the best thing you could do is just start to educate yourself. And that conversation with the lender is the first step.
Absolutely. When I'm on calls every day, people, especially just getting started, that's the first thing I say. Here's the contact information for this lender. Let's get set up that way first, because, you know, not to beat a dead horse here, but the media can scare people. We're talking about how bad the economy is, how bad rates are. And it's like, well, let's slow down for a second and get the actual facts. And everyone's story, and, you know, it's different where you're at in life and what you can afford. So I think that's great advice, really focusing on getting that connection first to the lender. So I really am excited to talk more about your experience with us and how you got started with Spartan. So tell me a little bit how you got connected with us and what your experience has been so far with the properties that you have here in Alabama.
Okay, so it's a colleague of mine up in Virginia up here had told me about you guys several years ago. And I was like, wow, that sounds really cool. I'm just going to kind of put that in the back of my mind. Back in the fall of 2020, one of my rental properties just outside of Birmingham, single family home, the tenants wanted to sell. And so I was like, all right, this is what particular property I just didn't want to hold on to for forever. And I was like, this is a great time to cash out. I want to do a 1031 exchange. I knew I was going to be replacing it with multiple properties. And with that 1031, you have to identify all of those properties within 45 days. So I knew that I was going to be buying down in Alabama, being up here, needing to do that within 45 days. Was like, there's no way that I'm going to do all that. With everything that I have going on up here, I was like, let me find out about that company. So that's when I got in touch with you guys. I spoke with Maureen. That phone call was fantastic. That discovery call was supposed to be, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. We were on the phone for like a good hour and a half because she just kept answering all the questions that I had. And one of the things that I really appreciated about her was she was like, hey, what's your biggest fear? Like, what's the thing that frightens you the most about walking into this? And I said, I'm scared I'm going to screw up the numbers. Like, I've got so many different things going on in my personal life right now that I'm afraid I'm not going to focus on the numbers. And I really want something that's just already laid out. So she sent me your IPDs, the investment property description, which is fantastic because it lists, you know, not just like the purchase price, but this is what we expect the rent range to be and your return on investment. So I was able to just look at numbers and say, oh, okay, this one's actually going to work for me. So I ended up buying 3 properties with you guys, which was awesome because I turned one property into 3. And it's been amazing. And I've never stepped foot in any of those properties, which is just fine with me. I love the fact that it's 100% turnkey. I don't have to think about it, you know, that the money just literally comes into my account each month. And I love that. And I really I get the updates from you guys. You know, I always get an email each month. Hey, this is what's going on with your properties. Everything looks good. Rent's coming in. I appreciate that. You know, if there ever are any issues, it's quick communication. Hey, here's what we need to do to resolve it. Okay, awesome. You know, one thing about investing in real estate is you're always going to have some bad tenants at some point. That's just the nature of the business. But I really like that you guys handle that. I don't have to deal with it. So I appreciate that very much. So my experience has been great. And so like I said, I'd sold that home in the fall of 2020. And because I'm from Alabama, I was back home visiting for Thanksgiving, and I was able to link up with you guys and do a tour of the properties, which was awesome. So I think they showed me like 2 or 3. And I mean, they all look the exact same on the inside because y'all are using the same materials and which cuts down on cost. And they, explained that to me, and I was able to see it firsthand, which I thought was really cool. And also gave me more confidence when I was purchasing, a couple months later. I was like, I don't need to go in and see them. I already know the materials. I already know the process. I already know what y'all are doing. And so that's how I was able to just go, all right, I'm going to sign for these homes that I've never seen. And so far it's been great.
No, that's an amazing story. And I think that's the biggest fear when people are looking to purchase out of state, is they're like, I'm never going to see it. I know I'm not there making the decisions. And I'm like, but you're also not going to be living in the house. So it's really okay. We're going to make it okay. We're going to have a great place for your tenants to live. So I think, like you said, that's what I love about Turnkey and Spartan in general, is our property management team. Because a lot of times, with flipping houses, whatever it may be, a company will partner with another property management team that's separate from their company. And what I love about ours is like, we're all in the same entity. We're all in one building together. So I'm going to hear about something that happens with a house 3 years after I have it under contract. And I can still go back and say, I remember that house, and what can we do to help? What can we do to fix it? And so I think just having that relationship continuing from the beginning to the end is what keeps our investors coming back, and us having that personal relationship with you as well, and just knowing that these properties are succeeding, because that's our number one goal for you. Like you said, that money showing up every month in your account,
that's what I want.
is what we want to for you. So I am so excited that it's been such a great experience for you so far. What is some advice, especially right now in this market, that you could give someone who is getting started in investment, not only in investing, but investing in out of state? I know there's a lot of fear with people having that, but what are some ways that you can encourage them to get started and take those initial steps?
So for people that are looking to invest, I say, first of all, if you're going to work with a realtor, if you're going to go that route, make sure you're working with one that understands investments. Right. That's a completely different process than, purchasing a primary home. Up here in Virginia, there are quite a few homes that would work as investment properties that are in the MLS. So I tell my people, hey, make sure you're working with someone like that. I also send a lot of my people to you guys, because they're like, hey, I'm just getting started and I don't really know how to analyze properties, and I really don't know how to do the property management, or I can't afford to buy up here in Virginia. Right. I've sent quite a handful of people to you guys, because it works.
Yes,
it's easy. And I'm like, you're just going to get the money in your account, and that's what you want. And some people are a little apprehensive about having property managers at first, because they're like, that's going to cost money. And like, yes, it does eat into your profit, but the point of getting into real estate investing is for passive income. And it's not truly passive if you're managing the property yourself. I did start off with, one of my properties, managing them myself, and it was great. But with you guys, when I bought these 3, I was like, I don't want to have to think about that at all. I don't want to have to worry about trying to lease it and find tenants and screen or anything like that. Exactly. So I would say, don't be afraid of the property management, that they are on your side and you guys are advocating for me, which I love. Yeah. And also just get started. So don't get caught up in the analysis paralysis and, should I do this? Should I not? The longer you wait, the longer you're just not getting that, building that equity, getting that appreciation and starting to get your cash flow.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people get that wait and see mentality. Yeah. And right now is just not the time to wait and see.
No, right now, while everyone else is hesitating, go in and get it. There's not as much competition for us now. Absolutely.
Exactly. And I think, just through the pandemic is one example. We had people jump into opportunities during 2020, and now look where those properties are that have really just rose so much in appreciation over the past 2 years. So I think we learned a lot from that in that time in the market. And any time in real estate is now is the time to jump in. You're putting in your assets in a hard asset, a tangible asset that's always going to be there. So really, really appreciate that advice to investors that are getting started. Backing up a little bit, I know we talked about that you're an Alabama fan. I'm an Auburn fan, so I won't hold that against you, but I always root for the SEC. No matter what, that's number one. And we always root against the ones that won last weekend, but we won. But no offense to our Tennessee fans. Anyway, but no, it's all in fun. We love the SEC. So tell me, being from Alabama, I know when I'm talking to people that are like in California, Hawaii, other places that have never been to Alabama, it's so funny to hear like different stereotypes or like, I thought this is how things work. And it's hilarious. So I'm like, just come out here and meet us. You'll see we're normal just like you, and we have a great time. But what are some things that you love about Alabama and why people should look really closer into, expanding their investment portfolio into this state?
So I like it, first of all, because my money goes further there. But there's also so much growth. I mean, not just Birmingham, but Huntsville with all of the government installations there. I like investing around government installations because same thing, like the market that I'm in right now, there is constant turnover. And those are really good tenants and they're always going to be coming and going. So that's one of the reasons that I really like Birmingham and Huntsville. And I know that with you guys, y'all only focus on certain zip codes that are going to appreciate well. And so that's where gives me a little more confidence just to say like, okay, where are y'all suggesting? And that's where I'm going to go.
Yeah, we really thankful for our acquisitions team because they're spending so much time researching into these markets in those areas, like those zip codes you were talking about, making sure that the numbers are going to make sense, the rents are going to make sense. And I'm so glad he brought up Huntsville. It was crazy. I was reading an article from Bigger Pockets earlier, and Huntsville was the #1 most relocated to city in the U.S. this year. So I was like, wow, that's crazy. But crazy. It makes sense though. Like you said, the military government presence there, tech presence, just the job opportunities there alone have really brought a lot of people to that area. I was talking with a client today, and just coming through, like you said on your first initial call, Maureen, what are your fears? And theirs #1 fear was that they'd have a tenant move in, and that the economy would cause them to either get evicted or not be able to afford the house. And, I was like, I'm like you, I'm kind of wearing my heart on my sleeve type of person too, and feel for them. But, I just don't think that's what's going to happen because of all of these opportunities. #1 thing with housing is it's always going to be a need. And our investors are the ones that are able to provide the housing for those people that are relocating to Huntsville and to Birmingham. So I think, just like people like you that are providing housing options to people and that can't afford to buy their own properties right now. I think that's a big mindset.
Yeah, I was just speaking with some clients up here that are, investing. And I said like, hey, I know y'all are looking at Virginia, but you might consider, Alabama. And so I, talked a little bit about Spartan. They were like, yeah, but we're worried about bad tenants or whatever. I'm like, then don't invest in a C-class property. If you're concerned about that, invest in a property that's going to command the higher why am I losing the word? Rent, the higher rent and the tenants that are going to come along with that, so there's always different type of properties that you can invest in and find the right fit for you.
Exactly. And there's always a tenant for every property. It's funny going in, they're like, oh, it's only 2 bedrooms. Oh, it only has 1 bathroom. Well, someone out there is only
someone's going to need that.
One. Exactly. Yep. So it's, taking the emotional aspect out of it and knowing there's going to be a need there for it. So I'm just so glad that you're helping your clients see that, and they're able to make those educated decisions moving forward. So what do you have coming up through the pipeline right now? I love watching your videos on Instagram. So tell everybody where they can find you on socials, on your website. Where can they find Lindsey Schmidt?
So lindseyschmidt.com. But so on my Instagram is Living Free with Lindsey, because my pursuit of freedom. I want a life of freedom, and real estate has started it for me, and that's how I'm gonna continue to get there. So I like to post my adventures on Instagram, because it's not just about work, like it's about play. Like that's the whole reason why we're doing this, is so that we can enjoy life. And that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to shift all of my income streams from active to passive. And real estate is a huge part of that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the holidays coming up. I always go back down to Birmingham for Thanksgiving, so I'll have to connect with you guys, and
yes,
maybe the Iron Bowl. We'll see about that.
Oh, we'll have to come have an Iron Bowl party. For those that don't know what that is, Alabama versus Auburn. We got a big competition we have going on internally. Very competitive about that. Come join us for that. But no, I really wanted to encourage people, like you said, to follow you on Instagram, because that really prompted me to be able to have this conversation with you today, and seeing your advice that you're giving to investors, but also the benefits that you're reaping from it too. You look like you're always having so much fun. You're able to take those fun trips and do things with that passive income coming through. So I think that's such a great example for other people to see. So I'll still be watching you on Insta, all the reels. I love it. So
sweet. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, I definitely will be including your information in this recording. We'll be sending this out to everyone. This will be available in case whoever's watching wants to go back and listen to some of the topics that we spoke about. But I wanted to thank you so much again for chatting with me today. It's always so insightful for our investors to hear from someone that's on their side, and not just us that are living and breathing it every day here at Spartan, but you're getting to be a part of it and part of our team and our Spartan family. So thank you so much for giving out that advice to all our investors today.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, go follow Lindsey at Living Free with Lindsey on Instagram. You might see us post some pictures from our Iron Bowl, Auburn versus Alabama, when she comes visit. Look out.
Yeah.
But thank you so much again, and thank you to everybody joining in with us today. We'll have this coming out in an email tomorrow of the recording for all who attended, and we'll see you guys on our next webinar next month. So I'll see you soon. And Lindsey, it was so good to see you.
All right, thanks.
Soon. Okay, bye.
All right, take care.